Hello everyone, this is me, Wani, your host
And I'm Rohan Roy, your co host.
to the Case Files show podcast where we uncover yet chilling and psychological cases that have never been solved or too gruesome to be understood. So today we have a very unsettling but ordinary case. A quiet street, trimmed lawns, church bells on Sunday, a man who smiles, shakes hands, and follows the rules. Well, what do you find wrong here? Nothing. Because sometimes ordinary is a disguise. For years, a presence moved through a community in Wichita without raising suspicion. Structured, patient, and controlled. He didn't act in chaos, he acted in calculation. He wasn't hiding in the dark, he was standing in plain sight, yet unbothered. Today, we explore the psychology of a man who built two lives, one the world could see and appreciate, and one that was sinister and only existed in silence. This is the story of control, of ego, of a man who wore a mask so well that no one questioned it. This is the story of Dennis Rader. And the most chilling part about this case, you would have trusted him too. Well, Rohan, could you just give me a basic profile of Dennis Rader, please?
Yes, sure. His full name was Dennis Lynn Rader, also known as BTK, and he was born in 1945, Kansas, USA. And mainly he lived in Wichita.
Well, here you mentioned BTK. What exactly does BTK stand for?
He actually gave himself a nickname which means bind, torture, and kill.
That's actually really gruesome to know. A person who seems to have enjoyed his crime.
And he also used to send taunting letters to media and the police.
Well, that's just basically advertising himself and challenging everyone that you cannot catch me. Well, let's just uncover more details into his first hit was in 1974, where a family was killed in their home. It shocked Wichita all over. The place was filled with fear because there was no suspect, but the crime happened. Then letters began arriving, like Rohan mentioned. Letters and articles and everything were sent like tips began arriving in local newspapers. The writer described the crime in detail, only the perpetrator would know. It was as if he was taking a trophy for himself and was publishing it to the people that they couldn't catch him. He demanded a nickname which he gave to himself then, thus how Rohan mentioned.
Yeah, and BTK.
Yeah, so BTK here stands for what? Blind, torture, and kill. Yeah. So basically, that just gives you a basic idea of what he was actually doing, right?
Yeah.
So, and actually, in the beginning, when press didn't respond the way he wanted, like because he was sending his articles and how he described exactly how the murder happened, when people did not have a clue that it was actually him.
Basically, he wanted attention and recognition.
Yes, basically. And he wasn't getting it in the beginning, so he suggested starting one himself because he started writing again, and that's when BTK emerged. This wasn't just violence, this was his ego pent up inside him, wanting recognition, that crave for that gruesome recognition. Don't you agree?
Yes, totally. And he was, technically, he was living two lives, one on the plain side and one hidden from the world. For years, he lived quietly. He raised children, attended church, worked steadily.
Wait a minute, he had children?
Yes.
Oh my god. And it's just really crazy that the family also didn't know. He thought he was just like this perfect father, perfect husband.
No one had any idea of what a character he was. And he even attended church, worked steadily. He installed security system for ADT, meaning he understood how people try to protect themselves. Psychologists later described his behavior as compartmentalization, the ability to separate one identity from another so completely that neither collapse.
Well, actually, this sounds like borderline personality disorder. Don't you agree? Because
I do.
he had two different personalities. One where he was being happy and fulfilled with his family, yet there was another whole sinister side to him where he craved for that crimely attention.
He had what he called projects.
Oh
He
my god.
stopped, planned, and waited. Between crimes, there were long cooling off periods, sometimes years. This wasn't impulsive chaos, it was fantasy driven control.
So basically, when he was having these cooling off periods, he was just reminiscing about the crimes he has committed, right?
I doubt. He was just living his normal life with his children and he used to attend church.
Oh, that's a good take because, like you said, I was thinking that he was reminiscing about each crime. Like you said, he might have been taking that cooling off period to, have the normal life, so called normal life. But I also think that the fact that kept him in his normal life was the thing that he kept remembering what he did, and he kept reminiscing, and he kept living that moment over and over again, feeling that happiness and joy that he got when he committed the crime. And when this urge and everything started, that was because he got bored of what he had actually done. He wanted more.
True.
That is why I think he emerged again. Well, I actually have some information regarding the silence, like we discussed. After 1991 is when everything actually stopped for the first time. No more letters that he sent, no more murders that he committed, and for over a decade, the case went cold. That is why many people discuss it in today's true crime videos and podcasts like us. He aged, he grew older, he blended deeper into normal life. Because, see, listen, would you question an old man who is a church father, who is nice to you? Every Sunday you go to church, he greets you, he gives you nice lessons. Do you think that, would you even
Never.
imagine?
Never.
Never in 100 years, right? What do you think would have been in your mind if you realized a person so mundane that you see every day turned out to be a sinister criminal?
And that could happen, there's a high possibility that whenever we go around or meet people, there might be another Danny between us and we might have no idea about it.
Yeah, that is true. Like we talked, this case just takes me on the edge because, like other cases like Ted Bundy or Jeffrey Dahmer, they all were already having issues with the public. It wasn't like that they were already living a happy life. They had issues with society. They had silence in their life. They did not mingle with the society. But here, he was the perfect person. That was the perfect cover for him.
Perfect than any ordinary person around.
Yes, he was so ordinary that it was hard to question his true intentions. Well, yeah, like we talked about, if he had stayed silent, he might have died free. And well, the silence didn't satisfy him, like we discussed. I think he craved for that like that pleasure more of hurting
He
someone.
wanted people to know about him, what he was doing.
Yeah. And let's now dive deeper into the field of attention. The need for attention, like Rohan, you've mentioned, in 2004, after almost a decade. So, in 2004, after years without media attention, actually letters resurfaced. Did you know that?
Oh.
So here packages were mailed to media outlets in Wichita. Before, in Wichita, they only received his letters or like mail that just showed or described how he committed the sins, but no one knew that it was actually Dennis, right? So now, since he did not get enough attention, and after a decade of not doing anything, and his craving has grown at over a period of time, so now he was confident and more comfortable with his crime.
Basically, he didn't wanted people to forget about him.
Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to say. So here, now he started mailing packages full on, where to media outlets directly, and like you said, he might have felt forgotten, and that was probably unbearable to him.
He wanted people to know. He wanted people to fear from him. He wanted everyone to know what he can do and what he does.
Yeah, I totally agree.
He wanted a spotlight. He wanted to control over fear. He wanted his name remembered.
Yeah, that's true. It's just chilling that a human brain or a human mind can go to such extents for fame, even in the wrongest way possible. Yeah, and I agree with him wanting to be remembered. So, and do you want to know something very funny yet interesting? Do you know how he actually got caught?
Must be something very serious. Or he might have caught in the action, I guess.
Well, that would have been a great ending to a true crime podcast, but it is actually a little um, not so great of an ending for him at
Okay.
least, but a good ending for us as citizens. He actually got caught because of a silly mistake where he asked the police directly, if someone sends a floppy disk, would you consider it if be traced? So basically, floppy disk is like an older version of a data storage CD or a CD, or it's like current day pen drive. Okay, so at this point of time where he was sending like packages to them, here he included like things like floppy disks or like magazines or articles or clippings about him, or like things from the crime scene that are very similar.
So his own hunger for recognition got him caught.
Yeah, basically that. Yeah, like I feel like he was risking too much of his identity for the hunger, like you said, and that is where he slipped right through the crack. So he actually asked the police, right? And what the mistake here was that he actually already had sent the floppy disk.
Oh.
Since the police for over a decade or so did not have any clue of who was actually sending these anonymous letters and packages, so now they had a clue. They connected the dots. Why is this man, Dennis Rader, a very good husband, a very good father of two children, and the community's priest?
An ideal person everyone can look up to.
Yeah, basically an ideal person. Why is this guy suddenly so concerned about a floppy disk? Being caught about it or being traced? Why is that such an issue? What was he hiding in it? And then that's when they connected the dots. He and his mask was now going to get down before everyone in the society. So once the police had connected the dots, they quickly responded publicly saying that it would be safe. That was to tell him that yeah, you're fine, we don't know that it is you yet, so that he would not caution himself.
Trace him.
Yeah, he would still be thinking, yeah, I'm fine, I don't have to be worried about what is going to happen to me, because he is now thinking that police has agreed that nothing is wrong, it is not going to be traced and nothing is going to go wrong. So now he was comfortable, he wasn't alert, and that exactly is what the police wanted. And that wasn't actually the case. A floppy disk can actually be traced with its serial numbers and who has bought it or which store it has been sold from.
When he sent the disk, digital metadata linked to a computer at his church. Can you imagine?
Oh my god. Yeah, like we discussed, it can be traced, and that is what they were hiding.
When he sent the disk, digital metadata linked it to a computer at his church. Within weeks, DNA testing confirmed what Wichita had feared for decades. The rule enforcer, the church leader, the neighbor, BTK.
All were the same. And I don't remember what exactly the username was. Do you have a clue? I think it was something along his name, right?
Yeah, the username was his name.
He literally.
Dennis.
Oh my god. That, I feel like it is a little stupid on his side.
He got too comfortable.
Oh my god, that's exactly what I was trying to say. Yeah, he got too comfortable. And finally, when it comes to him being caught, then came the drama. The courtroom drama.
The courtroom.
Yes. So here in the court, he actually spoke calmly, methodically, emotionally detached. How you would expect actually a sinister criminal to actually respond that is never been out in the society, like someone like Jeffrey Dahmer. But he actually had emotions that he actually showed with his family, but which was totally different here.
No, he showed no emotion. observers described as chilling, not because he was loud or dramatic, but because he wasn't. He explained even like someone describing routine errands. It was like a daily thing for him.
My
He was
God.
describing his crimes as it was like a daily errands. In 2005, he received 10 consecutive life sentence. Psychological breakdown. What made Dennis Rader so disturbing?
Well, I think it is actually narcissism.
Yes.
He needed attention and recognition over and over again. And then came
And
control.
the control. His crime centered around dominance and power.
Compartmentalization. He maintained two completely separate identities following bipolar disorder.
And fantasy reinforcement. He rehearsed, planned, and relived events mentally. Unlike impulsive offenders, Rader was patient, structured, organized. He didn't hide in darkness. He hid in
Normalcy.
normalcy.
Yeah. Now let's conclude this sinister case. Maybe the most terrifying part of the story isn't actually what he might have done. It is how well he blended into the society and into the family. For over 30 years, Dennis Rader proved something deeply uncomfortable. That sometimes evil doesn't look chaotic, sometimes it looks polite. And sometimes the masks fit so perfectly, no one thinks to take it off.
Cut. Let me see this last line. It will look good.
Okay, let me just add it. Closing again, okay?
For
क्लोजिंग में मुझे एक और बोला था उसका वो दैट ही रिकॉर्डेड ओके क्लोजिंग 3 2 1 well to conclude the whole case a synopsis of it he was a silent killer as the name it says he even recorded it he enjoyed watching him do it himself by the way he actually had recordings and he necrophilia is what you actually said
Yes.
yeah so
He performed necrophilia.
yeah, so
on
he
his
used to
victims.
record his crimes and he used to watch them in secret, in silence, and these recordings were later found out.
And this person was a church person.
Yeah, you cannot just literally connect the dots. If I was a person in that neighborhood, I wouldn't have questioned his identity either.
He will be the last person I can have a suspect on.
Yeah, you would not choose him as the first suspect at all. So maybe the most terrifying part of the story isn't what he actually did, but it is how he blended in so well.
For over 30 years, Dennis Rader proved something deeply uncomfortable. Sometimes evil doesn't look chaotic, sometimes it looks polite, like Dennis. And sometimes the marks fit so perfectly, no one thinks to take it off.
And that was it for today, guys. Hope you enjoy this chilling thriller of a crime of that no one spoke about and no one thought to understand. This was the story of Dennis Rader. Closing off, this is me, Vani, your host, and your co-host,
Rohan Roy.
closing off and signing off the case files. Thank you.